Okay.
Let me put my Invisalign in.
Okay. Good
Getting live.
evening. Good evening. Good evening. With the Invisalign at the start of a show. Oh goodness! And if you ain't catch it, you gotta go all the way to the immediate beginning.
Yeah.
Good evening and happy Friday to everyone. It's a Friday to a long weekend, right?
Amen.
And we in Cancer season, so shout out to the
Yes.
Cancer.
Yes.
Oh goodness!
Woo! Miss Taurus season.
Good. I know, right? I usually celebrate my own season, but I'll be nice. I'm being nice.
Well, listen, it's our season all year round.
Oh goodness.
Our season. No, not Taurus, but our, as in us women.
As in us and the peoples.
Yes.
Oh, all right. I'll take that. Us and the people. So we send our safe space and prayers for Doc and her family.
Yes.
And
Definitely.
I know how it is to be a dad girl, and I know that she is a dad girl as I am. So we just want to send some personal space and energy and positive thoughts her way.
And some love, yeah.
Yeah, because we will miss her presence, and this was actually her topic. So she said we could rock it out on her behalf. So we got it. And I'm gonna just go in order how you guys fall on the screen. So that the next would be Camp. How you living?
I'm good. I'm living all right.
It's nice to see you in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what you got going on, but you gonna have to get it going on.
I know. Hold on.
You're like, hold on. So what's new with you?
I got stopped by the police in Waterproof, Louisiana. They don't even have a stoplight, but that's another story. But he said the speed limit was 50 coming into town, but it was 55 all the way through on my phone and on the speed limit signs.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that's how they make their quota in the middle of nowhere. They don't even have a stop sign. He said coming into town. Their bank was one ATM machine. They barely had a signal.
That was the whole bank?
Yeah, the whole bank was an ATM machine. No, seriously.
Okay.
So I'm like, he's talking about coming into town. I'm like, what town? Wasn't nothing out here but maybe a barn. Maybe a barn. And it was a black cop because sometimes they be the worst.
They do.
I'm respectful. So knowing me, I normally clap off, but then he looked at my plates. But so I was going 64. But you can go over, it's like 10 above the speed limit. I wasn't at 65, so everybody was going faster than me, but they ain't always about everybody.
Right.
I could have just kept driving, but I was like, let me be nice and stop on the side.
Right.
I got a ticket. He writes a ticket. He goes, where's your license? Where you from? And I'm like, well, license is PA. Like, everything, just look at the license plate. So he writes a ticket, and I'm like, so, sir, how much is it? Oh, I don't know. You got to call this number. What? So he's talking about court date August 24th. You think I drive through this? I drive through this part of Louisiana all the time. So
right.
You think I'm gonna come back through here for a court? No. He was like, well, you got to call. You got to pay. He said, so no points to be on your license registration. And then I gave him, you know how you move in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years ago, I moved, and Pennsylvania was like, we're not giving you another license until you renew your license, which is in 2 weeks because of my birthday. So what they send you is a card with the updated license, the address.
Right.
So I'm like, this goes with the license. So instead of putting the correct address, he put the wrong address. So I'm like, well, if they try to track it, it's the wrong address. So I said, I'm gonna pay it, but I don't even know how much it is. I had to call and see. But you think I'm gonna come back here and
have internet to even tell you the price of the ticket, or you gotta actually dial up and call?
I had to dial up and call because he was saying about the stoplights and all this. Y'all don't have a light in here, and they don't even have internet connection out there. So he said coming into town. What town? Like it wasn't even no.
You gotta respect the ATM. That's a whole town.
I guess that ATM was for the whole county.
Wow.
Like they can't be out there.
Where the heck were you?
They said
You don't have to say.
no, they said Waterproof, Louisiana, but it's I ain't gonna say the county, but yeah.
Right.
So it's not even on the map, y'all. But anyway, I was like, I was respectful. I ain't pop off because normally I'd be like, "What you want?" You know, I talk the same to everybody.
Right.
I really do.
Right.
I've been
Oh
stopped by the police.
Lord,
I'd
we
be
gonna
like,
see here.
no, I really do be like, okay, what did I do? What you want? Like, can I just have my ticket? Basically, that's how I be.
Right.
But I wasn't like this time. I was respectful because, you know, we was with the hubby and the kids. I was like, yes, sir.
Oh, so
no,
all
sir.
of y'all was in the car together.
Yeah. But I was,
Okay.
you know, but I was driving. So it is what it is. And but then it was crazy because everybody was cool, but you know, I guess Charlie is like me.
Yes.
He was like, what he want? He needs to come out. I said, Charles, be quiet. He needs to come out. He's talking about, mommy, just drive off.
That's what Charlie said.
Charlie sound like my G.
just drive off. I said, no, I can't because he got my license. I need my license.
You
and
need
my
your license to continue this trip, right?
I need my paperwork. And,
wow.
And he looked at the insurance. The insurance, you know how they give you one card the last 6 months, but you still have insurance. They automatically renew it. So I was like, I said my insurance is good to the end of the year. This card just says last month, but I even tried to put it up on my Allstate app because they had no connection out there. It was just, but luckily it was cool.
Okay.
We was there for maybe 10 minutes sitting there, but he was really trying to find something. He couldn't find nothing. He kept saying 50. It's 55, sir. But that's a cushy job where you ain't got nothing to do but sit there and just watch the sun go down.
Right.
And you park next to the ATM, which is the bank.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
That was my experience, and then it's a lot
That's
of stuff going on.
For the we didn't get to that yet. We gotta ask April.
No, April, how you doing? Yeah,
yes.
There's
a lot going on, but we gotta at least get our voice on the microphone. It's a lot.
Well, I'll be really quick so we can get back to her.
You ain't gotta rush. You got your space on the platform, just like all of us. Yes.
You ain't gotta be quiet.
I'm gonna sit on that. Oh.
Your
Me
friend
too.
out in here.
Oh. You must have heard them talking about you.
I conjured him up. Hey, Daryl.
Hi, Daryl.
Hey, baby boy.
Can you hear us yet? It's a delay.
Oh, good thing.
You know he'll go catch us on the replay. So, April, how you doing?
I am doing good. This was a great week for me. Productive, making great connections, and I'm good. I got work to do, so there's no. Either way, it wouldn't have been a celebration for me anyway, but I got work to do this weekend. So
okay.
But I am sipping on some, even though it's in my little wine glass. I am sipping on some V8 Splash.
Oh, that sounds good.
Okay.
Mango peach.
I didn't share. I got some Riesling going on.
Ooh,
and I've been purging, so it's like I found this glass in the midst of my purging. So I was like, oh, it could come to sip and chat.
This is our head.
Okay, Welch's. Okay.
I love Welch's.
Mm-hmm.
Daryl, can you hear us yet? You checked in?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, I love the voice. It's so deep and clear. Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Shut up.
It's so nice of you to join us this week, Daryl.
Well, thank you. Thank you guys to have me.
You know what?
It's going to be one of those nights.
Yes, it is. So, what were you saying, Daryl? I'm sorry.
Hello?
Oh, you might have said something else. Listen, I don't want to cut you off already. Look, already. Keyword already. So, hey, Ruth. So, the camp was about to jump into current events before we could even get through saying hi to everybody.
My bad.
That's okay. And so I guess camp we're gonna spin it back around to you. So what's some of the current events that you want to rock out with? Because it's a lot that's happening.
I mean, it's a list. So it's a list. So Bill Cosby getting out of jail on technicality, served just 3 years. Then you had Felicia Rashad. They talking about they need to like rescind her tenure at Howard because she was just named a new dean of the the liberal arts college. They're like, get rid of her about what she said. Then there's a technicality because one of the chick, she just filed for divorce from Kramer. He's the Carlson Kramer. He's a pro football player, and they've been working on their marriage for they've been married 6 years. He cheated for mostly, but they had been really working on it anyway. She got 2 kids by him. She called herself a single mom. People tore her down on Twitter and social media. That's 3. What else you got going? Oh, one of my favorite players from back in the day, Chauncey. He got named the head coach of the NBA team. And he was going up against the woman. She's the assistant coach for San Antonio Spurs, and she's had 7 to 8 years of assistant head coach experience. And they was like, she's more qualified for the job. But then they bring up his 1997 sexual assault. He was accused of that in 1997 with 2 of his boys. So they brought that up, and then they asked him about it. He was about to answer, but the PR team from the Portland Trailblazers shut that down because they was like, no, we're not going there. Right. So it was a lot of stuff going on. It's more. But one thing that I did want to bring up, it was that the whole single mother. They was like, no, how can you be a single mother when you have custody half the time and your soon-to-be ex-husband pays you child support and you have a nanny? I feel like that's co-parenting. That means you're just a mother that happens to be single, but you're not a single mother. So they talked about the technicalities of how the language should change to include everybody. We have this, we've had these talks about how the language shouldn't be gender biased. To say instead of, you should say like single parent, like maybe more a caregiver or guardian, like words to include everybody. So that was a thing too with that.
Okay. You see Daryl's face, right?
I know. He got that little like
mine, right?
I get it. I get it. But that was
I was looking at April. I saw April.
That was a big topic this week. My whole thing is, so they were saying you can be still married, and if your husband or wife works overseas or travels for work, when they're not in the presence of the home, you're a married single parent or a married single mother or father.
How did that become single?
Well, because you're doing all this by yourself while the other parent is.
But there's
right.
Shut up, it's temporary, right?
Right. So for me, I just felt like everybody is just working together to raise kids and co-parenting, however you look at it.
Okay.
There are single parents in this world, and I felt like at the end of the day, if you are caring for a child, a niece, a nephew, or a cousin, you're some type of caregiver, parent, guardian in the world. So it doesn't matter. But they ripped her a piece because she said she was a single mother. Right. And I just thought I was like, why is it a major topic when there's other things going on in the world? Like the whole thing with the in Miami, it's other stuff going on for that to be.
I keep getting the it seems like every 10 minutes, I know it's not that much, but every 10 minutes of an update regarding Miami and the collapse and and so forth. And I'm like, wow, okay.
Right.
This is a lot. Thank you.
It was a lot. And then just they talked about how one of the police officers, he was looking for his daughter. She was 7 years old, and they finally found her. Of course, she was, deceased. But they was like, he stayed on to help other families, but he was looking specifically for his daughter. And they was like, that was just a sad moment. The whole thing is unfortunate. But the stuff that's coming up about it, like the pool, like they said renovations couldn't be done because of the pool. And the inspector knew all this stuff was 2 or 3 years ago. And currently, and they decided not to disclose it to the board of the, of the whole condo and all this other stuff. Yeah. It's just sad. So.
Okay. So she listed out a million things, but then she got y'all face expressions when she was talking about the single parent things. So did you want to jump in and comment on that particular current event?
I don't know the story that she was referring to, and I am not going to get into a conversation about, um, who a person or how a person identifies their status is as a parent. Um, we got all these different identities. I identify myself as a single parent, and I don't feel like and that's to me is an argument that can go back and forth, how you define yourself, how others define you, and I think it's more of how others define you rather than how you define yourself. So me personally, you're not going to get too much argument out of that. Or discussion rather,
From
as far
you.
as a single parent. No, I'm not.
I would agree with that.
Okay. Darrell, it's a lot.
I think that we just have to allow space on both sides. It can definitely be a single parent who split from someone, and you're raising your child on your own when you're with your child. You are a single parent, being a single parent, even though the other parent's on the other side of town. So it makes sense. But for us to have these long debates, people going back and forth about these things, it's silly, right? It's really silly. So
It's a waste of time.
a lot of this, it really is. There's other things we really could talk about. So if people could just say, you know what, okay, I hear what you're saying. You definitely are single parenting when you're doing it by yourself, independently. If your partner also parents when they're with, when the child's with them, but you're doing it by yourself. So you should be able to, I understand, right? And not say you're wrong for your definition of what a single parent is. I mean, if you're single, it means by yourself, and you're parenting, then you're a single parent.
Single parent.
Let's not confuse it too much.
Right.
Well, I think it's such a stigma from the world around being a single parent that, just adds a whole nother layer to this process. In some places you get a gold star and like people cheering for you. Some people use it as the victim role, like, woe is me, I'm a single parent, please help out and donate to my GoFundMe. But then there's other people who use it to kind of degrade the partner who they're identifying as being absent, but not taking accountability or responsibility for their role and why that is the way it is.
I agree with that. I just think everybody, whatever your role is with your child, you're still a parent, and that's what you do, parent. So however that looks.
And it don't matter what society say.
Exactly.
But we don't have confidence on our own. We don't think freedom thinking on our own. Like, that's just, I don't know, just not what we do.
Yeah.
And I think there's more pressing issues to discuss.
Definitely.
Than some celebrity identifying herself as a single parent or not. Again, we have the people dying and haven't been found in a collapse. We have issues regarding Bill Cosby's release. Whether it was
release from prison, yes,
right, legal or should it have been, that surrounds the integrity of our legal system, and I think that is more conversational than someone's single status. So that's just my opinion.
Right. I mean, people are worried about who's kissing who. These points.
That's true. Yes, that was in the group.
Like, you are that too.
Right.
I saw that one. Who showed it to a restaurant together and why they're together.
Yeah. What did you say?
I said there was a big thing about people getting caught kissing, and also 2 celebrities showed up, and why are they together? Because of their age difference.
I didn't even see that. I didn't even see it.
No, nobody did.
I didn't see it, but I saw the post. And my opinion on the post is not the fact that there was two or three men kissing or women kissing each other. My thing is, we have children watching these shows. So the behavior and the
But the
To
children
me,
see it everywhere that they go, like in their. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Let me silence
I,
you.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
where
yeah. I get you. Come on, Mary. Hold it back. Yeah, hold it back.
right. And it's not the point. Okay, first of all, you have to look at the post, which also, I mean, did you see the three guys? One was actually his hand was raising for the other guy's penis. Um the picture about with the three women, and one wasn't even involved in the act. She was just looking off to the side. But the story behind, or what you can get, interpret with the first one, to me, it was just too sexual, and I wouldn't have my young kids watching that for the simple fact
Well,
that, again,
okay.
so for the simple fact that, again, those behaviors, those sexual behaviors, again, I feel should be held in your home, private, whatever, not on TV. And of course, yes, I do have the option of removing my child, but if it just pops up in the middle of the TV, I don't have time to make that decision. It's already been seen.
True.
It's already
So,
been seen.
so I
Okay,
have a
I'm done.
question. Yeah, I have a question. So, are we also going to boycott every Disney movie out where they have them kissing in the movie? Are we boycotting that as well?
Okay, what did you tell me? What Disney
Well,
show? You
Not
tell me
everyone. Everyone they kiss
what
the prince,
what
they get
okay,
marry on
not in
mute.
that same
There's
context.
Every
assault.
Disney.
There's some kind of assault or challenge on character in every Disney movie.
Okay,
Everyone.
right.
we're talking about, you have to read into those
I'm
contexts. We're talking
no. I'm
about
just
actual
asking.
visual,
We're
and
just
I'm answering your
asking
question. And I'm answering your
because.
question.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, can I answer your question real quick?
Well, no.
Um,
Well, April, because we're
I
talking to
know
April,
April.
because
Yeah, we are.
she had the, yeah, she has the issue.
Well, she's
So with the kissing, and every Disney, just about every Disney movie has a prince
True.
and they kiss, and this is what is happening.
So
So
you're
if
going to
we're
tell
worried
me
about
that
kids
there's a
seeing this,
Disney show. You're going to tell me that there's a Disney show that shows three men kissing and one grabbing on the penis.
so the issue was the three men and the grabbing the penis. Is that what the issue is? 'Cause I need to know what the issue was, kiss, because
I
outside
just
of the
said the
picture,
issue.
no, outside of the picture, did you see all that in real time? Like when it happened, did you see the man have his hand on his genitals, another man
So,
doing this, or did
so
you just see the kiss?
are we discussing the show, or are we discussing the post?
I'm
Aren't they
discussing
one
where
and the
that's a question. That's a question. I don't know if you're talking about a picture you
That's a
saw,
question. Okay.
No,
or
no,
was
no.
it the show you saw?
I'm discussing the post that was in the group, which was an
Right.
actual snapshot. I'm not discussing,
Okay.
because again, I didn't see
Oh,
the awards. I didn't see the whole
so
act or whatever.
okay.
I'm just
So my question would be: is you have a issue more with a picture then? Because I don't think you saw all that live going quickly. I think I didn't see it, so it might have been. I don't know if it was a long kiss. I don't know if he was groping for 10 seconds if that happened. The picture taken out of context could look a lot worse than it did in the split second that it happened. So I
see what you're
need to
saying.
know what we're having an issue with. I saw a lot of things down. It could look
Mary,
a lot of different ways. So
you
I
have
didn't
a
see it
copy
as
of
it
the
went
picture?
on.
Can you post it?
Oh, sure, I'll get it. Go, keep talking.
Well,
But the question remains: Are we talking about a picture that could be taken? We can put context to a picture, right? Because we can
Right.
frame it.
To
Now
any picture.
they caught it at that moment. If everything happened bang bang bang, I don't think you're seeing that in real time. After you rewind it, you take a picture, you slow it down, it may look a lot different. So that's my question: is what do we have an issue with? Is it an issue with picture? Is it an issue that now it's an issue because
So
it's two men and one grabbing on?
If it was done in the snapshot as it was, okay, and this snapshot was of a live um dance,
performance. Yeah.
yes, performance. And we were talking about, again, kids potentially watching this show, and most likely kids were watching this show
They
because you
were.
have rappers, you have all the entire, all the celebrities that our kids are, all the entertainers that our kids watch and they absorb their behaviors, the content.
You can see it.
Yes. So I don't know if you can enlarge it, but at the bottom there's a guy that looks like he's groping.
Oh, down here.
Yeah.
Oh, he put his hands on his stomach. He touched his stomach. Okay, I see that. It's terrible. Don't touch people's stomach.
You know what? All right. You know what? So Mary, you're not showing the whole picture.
I'm not showing
the picture.
No, you're not. No, you're not, because that's not what's posted on the
That is
page.
exactly what's posted.
So okay, hold on.
She zoomed it in.
No,
Yes, that's what I saw.
whatever.
Posted.
You know what? Whatever the case may be.
Are you talking this one right here? The heavy debate. Is it okay for one?
Yes, there we go. That's the entire picture. So you're showing 3 men that's kissing on each other, and then you have another. That's a sexual. That has sexual language all in it. So
okay,
all
it does.
I'm objecting to, okay, and just hold on for a second. So what I'm objecting to is the language, the sexual language that represents. And I feel that it's not appropriate for our children. So if the question was, is there a problem with one or the other? Yeah, I think there's a problem with both, but I have more of a problem with that one because, not because they're men versus they're women, but a problem because both are showing or representing sexual language that our children younger children should not be exposed to.
So the first one, I remember that one. I think I saw that one real time. And she kissed both girls, and they had actually a kiss, right? That was a real kiss they both had. She went back and forth for both of them. Now, I didn't see the second one, but if we're talking about sexual suggestive language, then every video on there, the whole BET Awards or whatever that was, should have not been played because every dance move is sexualized. Everything out there is, you can look at it being that way. So if we're going to take one moment and pull it out and say this is worse than something else when all of it's sexually charged, then
you can however you dissect it, Daryl, to make this right for you.
I thought I was talking.
Well, it seems like
so,
we go back and forth.
I was talking. So what I'm saying, this is what I'm going to say. So I don't know where people grew up and thought they were children at one time and realize that you're going to get this information, you're going to see things are out there, right? So if you're letting your kids watch the BET Awards and expecting it to be PG, then I don't know what kind of parent you are, because you should already know it's going to be turned up, because that's how they do it. So for me, so as if we're worried about what our children are seeing, then don't let them see certain things, right? That's what I would say. Or you can educate your children through what you guys are watching together, because this is the music to listen to, like this is the artist they're following. So if you are not able to speak to what they are seeing, then again, that's a parent's problem. So just like me as a child, I'd rather, if I'm going to hear it, we're going to get it. Just like you got it as a child, I got it as a child. And if our parents put our heads in the sand and act like it's not happening, then again, that's a problem of a parent. So for me, what I would say, these things are going to happen. Like, it popped up. No one expected it. There was no release to say that this was going to happen. But when things happen, you just say, you talk about it if you have issues. You talk about it in a way that you're not making it negative or positive, but you talk about it. Because when you start being like, oh, turn your eyes, don't look at that, you make it more than it is. It was a kiss. That's what we're talking about. A kiss, and it looked like my man had his hands on his stomach. I mean, it didn't make me get up. It didn't do anything for me. It moved me inside looking at the picture. It wasn't sexualized to me. I said he kissed somebody. Again.
Right, but children, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Mary. Go ahead, please.
Children are exposed to sexualized stuff all the time. This is why, from a parent perspective, or whoever the adults are around them, need to know what it is that they are engaging in, like between music, the dance, the conversations with their friends. You need to be aware so that you can shape the narrative, because whether you are there to kind of co-pilot and guide them in the conversation while things are happening, they're going to be exposed to it. Even if you change the channel, didn't allow them to watch the show, when they go to school the next day, when we get back to that version of life, they're going to know all about it. Like, real quick. They're gonna know all about it in homeroom conversation. They're gonna see the pictures, and wouldn't you want to be ahead of the conversation
First of
versus
all, you're
doing
speaking
reaction?
as if first of all, the question was, is it okay? I believe the question was, is it okay, when it was comparing one or the other? And my response was no, neither one is more okay than the other. I just
Okay.
analyzed it to what I see was more objectionable, and that was in the first picture because it represented more of, again, the sexual language that I would not want to expose to my kid. Now if my kid had that saw that and we were watching it, and he or she saw, first of all, my kids are teen and adult, but if they were younger and they saw that, yes, then I am going to have that. I'm going to turn it off, and we're going to have that conversation. I mean, you're speaking as if, the way at least I'm taking it is that I'm not going to have that follow up conversation with my child, and that's just not me. But at the same time, if I had younger kids, you're right, Daryl. That show BET wouldn't be on that on my TV because I know the content, and that is a personal choice. That is a parent's choice. But the question that was asked was it objectionable, whether it was male on male? And at least that's what I inferred from the question. And so
Okay,
I
gotcha.
find it to that.
So
I would
again,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, Camp. I get you in there in a second, but even if when we take even the pictures, like I said, they're taken out of content. But I know, like the other one, the kiss the girls did were actually tongue, and they kissed for a second or two. I don't know if he did a tongue or anything, but I remember the women's kissing being very, erotic, and they were definitely like, that type of kissing. I don't know what happened with this kiss. I don't know if it was a peck. I don't know if it was tongue. I believe it was, first of all, because men. That
It was
makes
tongue.
already kind of, again, we think, I guess they say girl on girl is, more acceptable. So now you have men doing this, and it actually is causing more of a, I think some of our biases are coming out with it. But either way, I think the kiss, it's not that big of a deal. If that kiss is, again, it could, if you think that kiss is making your children do something, then what it is, your children are just expressing what's already in them. So let's not try this kiss is going to influence them to do something they weren't going to do before, if that's what, and then not you saying you, April, but that's what you start, they're showing they're projecting this onto our children. No, if your kid saw that and got aroused, that's because they liked it. It wasn't a kiss. This already was in them.
So,
it was already in them. So
my objection is, regardless if it was, same sex or heterosexual, that those acts, I don't think is or should be on TV, or I'm not going to have my kids watch that. That's all I'm saying. Whether it was same sex or
don't let them
heterosexual.
watch Disney. Big Disney
Well,
out.
Disney has its own. Okay, I know that Disney is not showing content like that, but
Take cartoons
Disney
out.
has its own.
Take all the cartoons out.
Well, I know.
Disney has the murder hotlines, stealing
Well,
children.
you tell me what
incest.
Disney show is showing that kind of content.
Well,
Sexual.
Again, I said, what do you mean? Like, if you look, now I don't know who's who, right? I don't know what's like exactly, but if you look, actually, Walt Disney had a lot of sexual stuff in his. I watched the show, and it's a lot of sexual things that are being expressed in his shows subconsciously that you're seeing that you may not be aware of until they slow it down. This is what he did. That was his goal. He put this in there. So if you research this and the sexual,
can you give me an example?
Things that he puts in there? Like I remember in Lion King, I think when he jumped and the leaves went in the air, it said something, sex or something like that, right? It's a lot of stuff like that in these Disney that are your kids are watching. And like I said, even the themes of it. you're stealing kids and keep them in a Rapunzel. She was stolen and kept in a way, and then the prince comes and she finds him, she loves him, and they're kissing. And Disney is the most ratchet shows you can watch. Or if you really look at what's going on in them, right? The content is, but we look at it differently because it's Disney. Oh, these cartoons. But the message.
And it's a cartoon.
It's dressed differently.
Right.
It's
you think
dressed
that cartoons are going to be animated for children when most cartoons are for adults more than they're for children.
Absolutely. And think about looking at these type of movies. Look at Disney and that type of ideology it has around relationships and marriage, and everybody thinks they're going to marry somebody and a white horse and everything's going to be great. They are influencing us more than anything else. And cartoons are the most violent things out there. That's a fact too. So these cartoons are very harmful, but we're not trying to say let's stop cartoons with the kissing and let's stop the the incest and all the stuff that's going on in these cartoons. We're not doing that. So we see these 2 or 3 men and we want to talk about it, but it's also critical because we're not talking about it in every segment of things that we watch. That kids are consuming or you're consuming or whatever the case may be. Everything on TV is very sexualized. We go from commercials to everything you watch, with your kids seeing.
So what you're saying is because it's there already, it's okay. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is that if you're complaining about something,
I'm saying to prepare for the fact that this generation is exposed to way more and in a different way. The download is way different. So it's like, it wouldn't be the mindset that we grew up on. It wouldn't be the belief systems that we would desire 100%. So we have to kind of like accommodate with the way society has infused these narratives.
We have to use old eyes to kind of look at what we're watching now. We can't do it the way we used to do it. We have to evolve. Just like everything's evolving and kids are getting, more and more stuff. Like, and this is why kids have more knowledge than us about it.
I'm hearing keywords: accommodate and evolve. And to me, that equates to it's okay. It's okay.
If we go to the real base of sexuality starts as early as the age of 3. And we have Sigmund Freud talking about the fact that people are rubbing up against themselves. They're trying to explore their body and understand all of those urges. So the fact that we as citizens of the United States, that they call the United States, we have these different belief systems that say that sex is the thing that everybody drives for. We dress for it. We put an outfit on. Oh, girl, is this sexy? Is this right? And then get mad when somebody approach you. We get everything is sexually driven. Every single thing that we do from our mind.
And I understand that. I'm aware of that. But Daryl, your response on it was that it's like we're the ones that's behind Americans. In Europe, the concept of sex. So it's okay because Europe finds that type of behavior is normal behavior, even out in public. And all I'm saying to that post was that it was too, that it was just too sexual to be in public. And if I see my kids, whether they're same sex, if I see people in the public acting that way, whether they're same sex or heterosexual, I still find that it's inappropriate. I still find that it's inappropriate just because, in Europe, it's okay. And we're the ones that have this corrupted relationship with sex and how we respond to, sexual relations is that we're wrong for thinking the way we think. And that was your message that I got from the post.
Well, that's what you got, but that's not what I'm saying, that we make things, like I said, we turn a kiss into this long discussion, right? So obviously it's something wrong with the way we're doing things. If you kissing someone is such a problem in public, you're saying that love should be hidden, right? We can't do it in the
No,
public because it's bad for kids. It's bad for
no.
you see these men
You're
kissing or these women
manipulating.
kissing or what? Okay, so
You're
if these men
manipulating
kissing
what you're manipulating
wait a minute.
my
So
what
if I
my
could I
response.
talk? Can I
No,
talk?
because I
I'm
want
saying finish.
I want to interject
Finish.
because
When
you're
you
manipulating what I
when
said.
you were talking
I
and
didn't say it. What you
misquoting what
just
I
said,
said,
that's not a
when
quit.
you
That's
were
not a
mis
quit.
when you were misquoting what I said, I let you speak, right? Because we have to speak one at a time, right? So look, this is what's going to listen that
You remember that going
if
forward.
love if
You remember that going forward.
see that hurts hard. Listen, what I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. We're blowing up a kiss. We're making it more than it is. We're making this kiss to be like he kissed somebody. Okay, like he didn't. It wasn't like not put a penis out or something. He kissed another man on stage, and we're tripping over a kiss. And what I pointed out, in other countries, they don't have these. They're not sexually uptight like we are here. We're not trying to hide everything and make everything bad. I believe, like I said, there's a positive love and you want to show it for another person and it's positive, there's nothing wrong with that, right? So I don't think anything wrong with your kids seeing two people kiss it. If this is what love is and it's a good thing, right? I don't have any issues with it. I'm not going to trip. When you start tripping and you make it something that makes more, like, ooh, makes it more taboo now because everybody's tripping over it. So now this kiss between men is something that's trending for what? Like, why are these men kissing really bothering you? If I was somewhere, I see two people kissing, I like see it, I guess I would just turn my head and walk the other way.
Right.
It's not that big of a deal. We are making too much of a deal out of a kiss, right? It's a kiss. And I don't know what's wrong with people showing their
kiss in the
respect
hand?
for each other.
Again, I love how he distorts things because again, it was not just the kiss; it was the entire act. But I think I'm at this point. I'm just going to agree to disagree.
Well, so the way I looked at it was,
Camp, can I ask one more question? Camp.
Well, no, can I
you
just
feel
finish
some
this
type of way?
quick? It's really quick. I
To
don't
make
feel
you
no
feel some type of
Did
way.
you just
No,
not
not you,
interrupt
Camp.
her?
Not you,
Did
Camp.
you just
April.
not
I know who you
interrupt her?
said.
All right,
Let's
let's
not.
let Camp
April,
go. Let's
then
let
you
Camp
feel type
go.
Thank you.
Okay, all I'm gonna say is, I watch the
Order
BET
in the
Awards.
chat room. Come on, Ruth.
I watch the BET Awards every year, but this year I did not watch it live when it first posted because I knew who was performing. And you got not just him, you got Megan Thee Stallion, you got all these people in the songs. It's sexual to 1,000th degree. However, I got a teenager, a preteen, and an older toddler. So just being the mother of 3 boys, just wasn't because of him. The whole slew of people who were performing, I was like, you know what? I'm going to screen it first because they watch everything with me. A lot of stuff we all watch together. They've seen Men Kiss in Public. We was in Lancaster County before doing the buggy and the farmer's market. Like, you see stuff everywhere. So it wasn't about the exposure. It was about the whole show for me. It was just a lot going on. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna screen it first, and then if I think they can handle it, then if they want to watch it, they can. But my whole thing was it was just too much going on across the board. Not because of that one kiss, because the stuff I listen to and like, it's a little raunchy. So I was like, you know what? I just let them, if they want to watch it later, they can. So it wasn't a big deal for me because I remember when like Madonna and the whole thing, and I was a teenager when that happened, the older teenager when I was watching the MTV.
Or when Janet Jackson's boob popped out at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so yeah, just different stuff. I just remember.
Ooh, look at the poo.
A teenager. So I think I do agree. I don't really take it overboard in terms of like certain things like love is love. However, you just choose a love, that's great. But in terms of whatever I don't want them exposed to, I just don't even mention it's coming on. I just leave it be. But I will say, I will agree with Adele on Disney. We don't watch Disney in my house because if you watch some of the stuff, you'd be like, oh, not appropriate. We don't do Disney Channel at all for years. So that's all.
Yeah.
What you got there?
I just don't. I was just, I would hands on. What are you beating kids, Ruth? What do you mean hands on?
Nothing about beating no kids. You know she's an educator. She can't be beating on no kids.
Oh no.
What's
that
hands on
means
mean?
Involved.
What's hands on mean?
Involved and participating and engaged.
Well, say that without hands. I remember at a job, I got to be hands on with the kids. Like, what you mean you can't touch your kids? I'm like, no. I mean, I'm there. I like to.
See, that's where the cultural competency conversations come in, and you know that the melanated conversation look differently than a different conversation. She said, "Hush, Daryl."
I think that I'll just very well just look. It's a kiss. It's not that big of a deal. I don't think that even if my kids did see two men kissing, I don't think that big of a deal. I don't think it's going to be life-changing for them to see that. Like, that to me wasn't enough to have the fanfare that we're having over it. Like I said, it's not like, somebody pulled out out there laying there humping on. It was a kiss. And if you see a kiss and you see more, then again, that's a personal thing, right? If you look at that kiss and you're like, well, they're going and they're groping, and it invoked something inside of you. It woke something up. That may be the case, but if two kids saw someone kissing and the worst could happen, they say, it's a kiss. I don't really see that being it was too crazy surrounding the kiss to me. So and we have to evolve because everything has evolved, right? So I'm not saying things are okay, but if you're going to keep up what's going on, you have to evolve. Like, there was no TikTok, there was no social media. These things are influencing kids. I was watching something, we were talking about TikTok teaching sex ed.
I'm sorry, okay? The neighborhood is being a neighborhood.
I'm sorry.
They were talking about TikTok having teach sexual ed on TikTok. Mm-hmm. And was that appropriate? And I'm like, why wouldn't it be? They're getting the opposite there. They're getting sexual content without any phrasing around it, right? So if there is something to teach, something that's healthy or a good choice, and this is what they're on all day, I don't have a problem with it. Now, if you think your kids are too young to be on TikTok, then don't have them on TikTok or monitor their TikTok. But all I'm saying is that it's with everything. Everything is overly sexualized these days. If you want to have these views of 40, 50 years ago, where this is where it is now, right? This is what's going on. So we can't act like this is not. We're going to take this out of this one thing out of a snapshot and say it's wrong, and it may be wrong, but there's to you or whatever the case may be. But what I'm saying is that we're inundated with sexual content all day, every day. So if you're championing against this, then championing against commercials, championing against most shows you watch, cartoons, everything. There would be nothing for you to watch. So get your kids a book, but they even watch books because it might be sexualized too. So you have to just teach your kids. So that's what I would say. Teach them. And that's the best thing you can do, is arm them to be ready for this. Because like you said, when they go to school on Monday, other kids who saw it are going to talk about it. So you would rather be able to tell your kid, frame it, know what it is, and get some bad information out there on the street.
Make sense?
Facts. Boom. April done broke up with us.
No, we're done. We can move on.
She didn't break up with me.
She ain't break up with me either, but I'm just saying. Her face expression was like, what? So Ruth says everything is overly sexualized. Soon they will be on stage receiving their awards naked. I mean, some prom dates already is naked. Like when they go to the prom.
Exactly. Talk about it.
There's like a piece of material hanging on. Yeah. So we've been at that mode.
He barely hanging.
Anytime you can't get in your own prom because you're naked, there's a problem. I see a lot of people can't get in their own proms because the dress is too revealing. And that's what I mean. It's weird. We want to say these things are images, but our kids are already wearing it, watching this music. The whole
and you become unapproachable. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. No, you're right.
You become unapproachable as the adult who is responsible for them because there's no open gateway to kind of have that conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I be having conversations I don't even want to have.
Yeah, and right. Want to, you have to, right? Because
oh no, yeah. That's the thing.
You're the first line.
And I'd rather have the conversation and keep having it. He was like, didn't we have this conversation 6 months ago? Oh, we're gonna have it again. Because I need to know the updates.
Because there's a download every minute of the day. So it's they're exposed to stuff all the time. So I just wanted to share. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Daryl. Because what I was gonna say is
Nothing.
this.
And you want your kids to be able to come to you and talk to you about these things. If they saw that kiss and be aware. I remember they were always in our rooms like, you getting any? You getting any? Like getting any wet, mom? You don't talk. Don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. And
that's just like April posted something about the seniors getting it, and I was like, well,
she
what
did
is
post
it?
that. Yeah, she did post that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what I
You
mean.
know
Like,
what I mean?
you,
What it is?
They getting it in.
cover that
They
thing
was
up,
building
but
their circulation.
Well, I'm trying to be
her talking to
respectful.
me,
That's all.
her
Saying it, but I'm
to me
grown
like
up.
that.
I
About her
didn't think
talking
you
to me like
did,
that.
though. I'm sorry, Daryl. Go ahead.
No, sir. By her talking to me, we were very open, and I was able to talk to her about things. I wasn't too embarrassed to come to her about things because she was already talking to us and made it okay to talk about these things. So if I did see something like this, man, why? Because they want to. Bull, get out of here. Okay, it's just simple as that. So, like I said, if we're going to talk about it, let's talk about it in every aspect, everything you see, and it's not used as one thing to champion, like this is the worst thing ever. When some of the video, some of the performances were way worse than the kisses. They was grinding. It was what you saw dancing there that you liked. Like, oh, get it. Not you as you, but I'm saying they popped that you liked was way worse than these two men kissing. If we're going to really talk about it, so let's be consistent. I would say our likes and dislikes of what we feel.
All right, I guess that's his closing thoughts on that. Oh, you twerking?
That's it.
He saw him. I'm sorry, that was funny.
That really was.
That was funny.
So I know I can't say that we're gonna go into another current event because of the time on the wall, and we gotta get to our comment, or otherwise we will be in a potluck conversation like we was a couple weeks ago. So Ruth is saying that she agrees that some of the performances was wild. But I just wanted to share a post that I saw today, and I don't know how you all are feeling these days in regards to, I know we talked about Juneteenth either last week or a couple weeks ago, and then now it's supposed to be Independence Weekend. And I just saw this particular post on social media, so I was like, okay, this is interesting. They said instead of it being 4th of July, it's 4th of July. Because it's not our freedom.
There we go. Exactly.
I was like, okay, this is an interesting twist. So they have a shirt and all of this. So this is what they're wearing as they go out. They still gonna go to the cookout, but they going out with the shirt saying the 4th of July. So you still celebrating, but representing. So I'm like, okay. What's your thoughts?
I mean, it's right. I mean, it is. It's not for everyone, right? And that's what I think we have to start doing. It's not everyone. The anthem is not for everyone. This 4th of July is not for everyone. And people need to understand it's not. So when I say, look, that may be cool for you and your league, but for me, I don't think I could celebrate it back in the day because I probably was in the field working. So let's be conscious of each other. And I think it's really, Americans so unconscious of others. They worry about themselves, and it's almost really disrespectful.
Absolutely. So this evening's, I'm sorry, anybody else want to comment on that?
I'm kind of a little bit like I think her name is Gwen Berry, the third played, and I believe it was one of the field events. And they played the anthem, and she turned her back on it. She said she's an athlete, actress, and listen, I'm not having it. Now, what I like about her is, and I believe her. She said they set her up. Do I believe her? They set her up? Yes. If we get her backstory, some years back, she won something, and she did she staged some type of protest. I'm not sure what it was, but she was sanctioned for it for 12 months. She got things of that nature because she did whatever she did that they didn't like. So now she gets third place on the Olympic team, and she's a record holder in her event. Let's talk about that. She's the record holder in the event, if I'm not mistaken. Now she says, listen, they told me they only play the anthem 2 times. They only play it 2 times a day. They said they're going to play it before after we get up there, whatever the case may be, they get up there, play it, and try to get her to go up there. But she held she held her. She was able to hold and say, "No, I'm not doing that." Turn her back on it. And then she didn't do much. She just stood there. She's like, "I'm not participating in it." And I even afterwards, they were asking her questions. She's like, "I said what I said. Like, this is what it is." I respect that because she understands that anthem is not for us. Okay, and it doesn't make her less American not to want to join in this song. It doesn't make her. If we have these freedoms of speech and things of that nature, this is what America is supposed to be about. So she should be able to do this without the recourse she's not saying.
That she didn't.
Like, why? Why would she go back? Why are you African? That's racist. You're racist. That's not racist. She's an American. Why would she go back to Africa when she's an American? If this is what we're saying. But I love that she stood for it and she didn't let them push her in something that she didn't believe.
Push her around.
Right. And that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, we've been downloaded to kind of code switch to make people feel comfortable around our ideas and how it is that we stand in situations. Mm-hmm. And I think that after what we've experienced in the past 18 to 24 months, people are claiming and standing in their foundation a little differently. So it's not to say that we're not still code switching, because that's probably going to exist as long as racism exists. But I'm glad that people are standing up for what it is that they are interested in. So
and I think this is why they're so focused on race right now. This is why the critical race theory. That's why it's a topic right now. What they're really saying is these people are waking up. Mm-hmm. They're starting to stand in their own truth and not allowing us to dictate to them, other than the flag for Juneteenth. They're not allowing us to dictate to them who they are, how they want to do things.
Too much.
And we're starting to wake up and to get a consciousness across the board, right? And they don't want that. Because if we become more kind of with the same type of ideologies and way to move forward, not that it all has to be exactly the same, but we start doing that, right? Because already the consumers, they're already following everything we do, right? So
and we're easily distracted by the trinket
and persuaded. Oh my gosh,
absolutely,
yeah.
Right. Something shiny in front of them, we fall for it every time. Or they kill us.
Salt, pepper, ketchup.
Yeah.
Salt, pepper, ketchup. So Facebook.
Four wings fried rice.
Four wing fried rice. Four wing. No, you ain't gotta say the G and the S. Four wing fried rice. Salt, pepper, ketchup. Salt, pepper, ketchup.
Oh my god, y'all got me cracking up. But
someone is asking, Facebook user is asking, does it make you less of a black person if you still celebrate the 4th of July? I would say no, it doesn't. You don't lose your card. No. Like that. You have your own personal choice in regards to how it is you choose to live.
Right.
Are there going to be some people who are identifying with a different way to kind of celebrate and let the calendar dictate how they live? There probably will be some people who will come and show up in a different way or have different conversations. But if you having a full-blown cookout birthday party with the red, white, and blue, live your life.
They coming.
Yeah, they
coming. We're going to have the same, I think the same mindset. I said, there's room for everyone, right? There's space for, there should be space for everybody. And if you like, 4th of July, cool, celebrate it, right? Or make your own.
I don't think we celebrated it as an Independence. I'm sorry. I don't think we celebrated it as an Independence Day anyway. It was just a reason for us to get together with family and friends and to have a cookout and to have the best potato salad and the Red Cup Chronicles and to spend time with our loved ones. I don't remember ever being at a 4th of July event where we were really celebrating independence, even when it came to the jazz concert or the fireworks. It was a celebration that this was what we did on this holiday. It was like we was wearing a costume on Halloween.
It's a day off.
Good.
Have a barbecue. Maybe shoot some fireworks. Like I never was like, "Go America!" Like that never happened. Never.
I mean,
it was
and
a
I
day
ain't,
off.
Right. It was a day off. I might travel somewhere. I mean, for 10 years straight, I was never in the United States for the 4th of July. I was always
yeah.
in Montreal, where their Independence Day is the 1st, and they would acknowledge the United States because they knew we were there for the jazz festival. So, like, I was there to shop,
Exactly.
get the great food.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So it's definitely something fun to do, and everybody has,
Yeah.
you know, like, live your life. Don't allow the world and society to dictate for you what you do and what's important.
I know can I just mention something?
You can, because my doorbell just rang, so I will be right back.
I know we're wrapping up the current events, but they in Chicago, they just put up a monument of Ida B. Wells. After all this time, I thought it was like, just interesting to pay homage to her. So I would mention that. Because when she was alive, the same thing they were fighting for then, we're still fighting for now. So they were just linking the times and how we're still fighting for some of the same rights.
What some of it? They put up a statue of who?
Ida B. Wells in Chicago.
Okay. Gotcha.
Sorry if you didn't hear me. I thought you did.
I heard something
in the background. I don't know.
I know you're on that horn a lot.
I apologize for yelling in the background. I didn't know what all was getting ready to happen.
No, I was
who's on the horn?
He's talking about me. It was by mistake.
You having road rage while you on live?
I believe so. It wasn't that much.
I'm not.
To hit the horn about.
I'm not. It was just, I was like, oops, because I don't really be using my horn like that. I just, dry.
That's funny. So I heard something about Chicago, but I guess I could jump in and transition us.
Yeah, I thought you was.
Okay. So tonight's conversation is to talk about the behavior and the actions of stalking. Like, why, when a relationship is over, do you think that you should stalk somebody, or that it's okay? And the intention of the plan of this conversation was to talk about the behaviors, but then also to talk about like the emotional connection and like the legal perspective of stalking. So who wants to jump in?
I have a question. Can it be stalking while you're in the relationship?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I thought it was changed after the relationship, but I mean sometimes.
Well, I think it was. Yeah, I think the way the topic was presented was like, after it's over, but
okay.
I do have a definition of what stalking behavior is from the dictionary, but we can define it for what it looked like in our life.
Because I mean, I think if people are following you or popping up at work and things of that nature, that might be signs that are. Well, it's tough. It could be weird, like you're popping up unannounced. These could be signs. I don't want anybody coming to my house unannounced.
Right. I mean, if you even know where my house is at this point.
That'd be more strange. Like, how'd you get here? I didn't tell you. It's not going to work.
At all. But then stalking too, outside of the physical showing up, stalking can happen with the way someone tracks your time when you say you get off of work at a certain time and they want you to call when you get off from work. That's how they say it, at least at first. Hey, call me when you get off from work. And you told them you get off at 5 and it's 5:10 and they like, yo, you ain't call me when you got off from work. And they keep calling you and you like, okay, I'm still on the job, talking to my supervisor, clocking out, like, doing the whole process. But they like, no, you got off at 5 o'clock. I don't understand.
I mean, I can be concerned. If I'm expecting
that's what you think in the beginning. You think, oh, it's okay, he's checking on me.
If I didn't get that call at 5 and I thought something could have happened, you might have thrown a hole and you were stuck.
You would take that perspective on this.
Well, no, I'm the type of person I will get anxious. Like sometimes someone if you're used to something happening, like you should go home at 5:30, and you're not here at 5:30, I might go to like maybe he was in a car accident, maybe something happened, or so when you walk in the door, I'm like, all right, cool, I before, or like my sister when she would come home late, it would be like anxiety until she got in the house, because my mind goes to like, especially what I do goes to like, you're in someone's basement putting the lotion on skin, like. That's what's going on when you're late.
But so as you say that, it makes me think about how technology works in the favor of communication in these situations to avoid it being a stalking situation for how you just described it. So you being a person that, the way you described it, having anxiety, wondering if the person is okay and stuff like that, and wanting to check on them, like if they got another phone call. If they just got some kind of distraction that they weren't able to make that call to you as it was planned, while they're on that call, they could send you an email, they could send you a text like, hey, I'm en route, I'll see you in 15 minutes. I got a quick call. It's other ways to communicate when it's a healthy communication.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because technology,
stalking is unwanted. Stalking is unwanted. It's weird because you have to say you don't want it, I guess, or sometimes for it to exhibit it, it's for you to know that it's like, it's not okay. If I just show up at your house thinking, once you tell me not to show up, I guess that's sometimes becomes weird. Because what's stalking? I mean, you can think I show up at the house and say, oh, he showed up with flowers, it's great. And I'd be like, you take flowers, candy, and get off my porch. Don't come here without calling.
But I think the thing is that in the pre-dating stages, and this is something that I always share when I'm working with teenagers, because teenagers experience stalking more than adults, surprisingly enough. Gotcha. They don't even realize in the pre-dating stages or even the dating stages, and adults too, what they permit as cute and sassy, or this is giving me status because I'm wearing their jersey, or this different stuff when we in the hallway at school or whatever. That when you decide that the relationship is over and all those things that you thought were cute that you gave the person permission to do before are no longer permissible.
Oh.
And that conversation of having that is usually when the stalking kind of elevates itself. Because who gave you permission to choose to do something different?
Right. And I just think of just teaching in high school and teenagers. For example, sometimes even the female wouldn't know she would be stalking, but it was just like, oh, I'm so in love with him. I so love him. I know what time he gets out of class. I showed the his locker. I went and sat next to him at his table at lunch with his friends. But it just may be like, oh, I really like him and he's cool and we hang out all the time and I want to show him I'm really into him. But it turns stalkerish fast. So just like the little things.
Well, I guess could that be like kind of like healthy at one point, because I just know where he is. I'm into the schedule and things of that nature. But then it could go.
That's one of those pre-dating, early dating things that you give permission to. It leaves the gray area that becomes confusing when you no longer want it. So like the comment earlier that says stalking is unwanted, sometimes the things that are the behaviors of the unwanted stalking, you once liked it.
Right.
You once
or accepted it.
Or accepted it. Right. Right. What are you drinking, Daryl?
I don't know. My daughter left something in here. Get some fruit drink. I don't know. It's good though. It's good. It must be a lot of sugar in it because it's delicious. I don't know what is delicious. Oh, you can buy yourself some sugar. You have sugar a lot and you get some sugar, it's like crack. This is I don't know what I am surfing the heck out of this, whatever this is. And I don't want to do it, but every time I look up, I'm drinking it again. This is.
You are.
I need help. I need to go to a meeting.
Is an addiction.
I need a meeting tonight. I need
Oh,
a meeting
goodness.
tonight.
So any other thoughts of like stalking behavior, like what it looks like the emotional compromise or anything like that?
Well, it's tough. I'm trying to think of any real like incidents where people were stalked and things of that nature.
We had examples. We don't have to put people's name in them, but we had examples in the green room.
they were. It was little type. I also had one girl at work where she was done. She had restraining orders and everything, but he still was coming. And
Wow.
and I remember the fear she had leaving work because he had popped up so many times, even outside of the legal, paper.
Because that's just a piece of paper.
You're not supposed to be here. Yeah,
Right.
it wasn't supposed to be here. And
you really love
just
me.
seeing her. Yeah, but I see at one point it was accepted, these type of things where being home at a certain time and then inspecting her when she came home to make sure she had no fingerprints on her body. I'm like, what happened? What he did? But that was, I guess, deemed to be okay because you allowed it to happen. So it became okay to allow it to happen.
You said fingerprints on her body?
He would check for fingerprints.
Really?
That's interesting.
That's what she said. She said he would make her stand there, her arms out, and look and check her to see if anybody has her fingerprints.
So
I'm like,
is that
you can't see fingerprints. Huh?
So there's a level of consent in the beginning when she's agreeing to the body check of what is happening. But when she decides that relationship is over or that she no longer agrees with her body being checked, because that power paradigm has been created between you and your partner, they want to know why. And if it is that you're shifting, then their mind begins to create all these other narratives or stories that make them want to stalk you even more. Like, I let, that's the word we usually fight about on this show. I let you have freedom at work. But now I see I'm gonna have to just come to your job and see who it is that you're talking to. See who it is that you're talking to in regards to, why it is now that you won't allow me to check your body. So somebody said, are we saying it's okay to victim? That the victim is to blame? No, definitely not.
Yeah, where'd that come from? How did you come to that conclusion?
So I think it was when Mary said when you allow it to happen the first time.
Yeah, I'm not gaslighting or blaming the victim in that regards and saying that they did something to make it okay. But there are things that we, in our relationships, that we seek and that we enjoy, that our partner is offering to us, that when it becomes too much or we are no longer attracted to that individual, the negotiating skills to be able to change that conversation safely is when it becomes unsafe. So I'm not blaming any side, of that.
I don't think there was any judgment on allowance when you said it wasn't in a negative way. Just wanted to clarify.
So it could be
no problem.
Implicit if you allow it the first time and the person just assumed that it's okay the second time. So in essence, you are
allowed it the second time too.
Or I wasn't finished my statement.
Oh shoot.
Okay.
Still broke up.
It broke up, so I thought you were go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. So no, I was just saying that it can be implied if you allowed it the first time and then the other person is engaging again without any objection. So it is implied.
You don't like the word allowed.
And I get it. The word allowed.
I get it. I get it.
I definitely understand that. So I don't know what a word that would actually make it feel comfortable on either side, but I want you to be clear that in the purpose of this conversation and in the goal of this conversation is not the intention to do any victim blaming or any gaslighting and saying that one role in the relationship is more responsible than the others. We're simply just talking about the characteristics of what is done from a behavior standpoint that welcomes, or that how people get caught into the cycle that transitions into it being abusive, or it transitions into it being violent, or something like that.
And it may be your silence sometimes maybe perceived is perceived as an okay. So the other person may read it as an okay because you didn't stop it, or you didn't necessarily let them know that it was something that you weren't into. So it could be the perception of the other person, right? And by you not really showing any opposition to it, they may feel it's okay, right? Because you really show any outwardly expression of opposition to what happened. And they can take that now as an affirmative. You didn't stop me, it's okay. So it's not saying they might have not felt like they could have stopped it, and that's why they couldn't do anything to get it. And that's true. They may not, stalkers are not, but I think that's the point of stalkers. They're going to do it without your consent. Like being in somebody's tree, looking in their window, I don't think I ever consented to that.
Yeah,
You know?
There's no consent for that.
That's their contract. That's their
Yes.
that's their value system. Like they need to know where you are, what you're doing, how you doing it, and if you're not doing it with them, why not? Like I think that, and that's the emotional connection that becomes a disconnection in the relationship. Because if we talk about character of the individuals who do these behaviors, there's some self-esteem that has been bruised. There's some confidence that has been not shaped well. There has been some abandonment of some sort, and someone like leaving them, it's stuff that they haven't resolved from previous interactions. And again, I don't know if we said it here, if I said it somewhere else, trauma for an individual usually happens between the ages of 6 to 12. And whatever that is, that shapes how it is that you negotiate all of your relationships and interactions. And if you didn't or haven't been given the space or chosen to take the space to kind of resolve what that is, then you manifest it in everything else that you do. So if you love somebody at 1,000,000% and they don't love you at 1,000,000% back, it now triggers you to remember that trauma trap that you didn't deal with from the ages of 6 to 12. And you recreate that scenario of how you felt then into your today's situation, and it justifies in your mind, if you're the person that is stalking, it justifies why this is the absolute correct behavior to do, because they love me. I love them 1,000,000%. They love me too. Where they really want to be with me, they just, maybe I was supposed to show up with flowers. Let me go get some flowers and show up now unexpected.
It's not over.
Okay.
They just had a bad day.
And I think sometimes the breakup situations really are bad way to have it, something start. Because if you got her back with flowers and candy before, I'll do it again. So when I show up, I'm gonna do it again.
If it worked
it's gonna
before,
work.
It should work.
It's gonna work again. Yeah. So, and that's where things get to be where it was. This worked, so I'm doing what worked before. So when it didn't work, I didn't work. Which means still no. It should work. You know what? I just got to do something else again to get it back to where it was before. I just got to go a little more. I got to come to the window. I know she was next to me, so I'm gonna climb the window and just lay next to her, and it's okay. And I think that's the mindset that people may have.
Right.
It sounds crazy. It sounds crazy when you say it, but people are doing things.
And see, I can't say that C word because I don't know where this video is going to be.
Well, so listen.
Y'all can say it. I can't say it.
When we say crazy, again, you can't. Not crazy as in like, but crazy as like an expensive, as an adjective to describe something that's just bananas. Like bananas out. Like it's not. So there's only one way to use the word that we're saying. Is that for you? Like you can't really say crazy.
Interpretation is everything. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Outlandish. I don't know.
I mean, so it's like even when the comment came, the comment, I can repeat that, but I can't from the perspective of being the advocate that I am with my international platform and working in domestic and teen dating violence is certain things that I'm unable to say.
Wow. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Tell them they need to also evolve.
Exactly.
Like everything else. Everything
Exactly.
stay current.
Because the mindset that they have, they be in I was about to do. They be done do what they do to every other person.
I was
Put
about
them
to ask
out.
that question too, Mary. Like I would say, is it a mental thing? Is it a is this DSM-5 related?
I mean, we all could live in a DSM-5 somewhere in life because we experience mental health every single day. Each person that breathes oxygen, but how it manifests and how it is that we cope with it determines on what part of the spectrum that we're on.
Okay. So there's different.
So it's like
different. It's like where would you take
and
it?
see,
How
like
far
even
would
the
you go
word
with
mentally
stalking?
challenged. I'm sorry.
Even that word is kind of
Like that's another one of those buzzwords that's not ADA
Yeah.
acceptable to say when you're identifying an individual because
correct.
What does that mean?
Right. It just not politically correct either.
Right. It's not politically correct.
Right.
Gotcha.
What you got, April?
I agree.
So what, April? What do you agree to?
All the above.
What do you agree to, April?
All the above. The only objection that I had with what was said was using the terminology of DSM-5. I don't think most of us understand or know what that term or that medical term means or mental health term means. So can you elaborate on what was?
So it's probably not even a DSM-5 anymore, but it's a diagnostic manual. It stands for diagnostic manual that practitioners who are trained as mental health physicians, psychologists, clinicians use to collect all of the information of the behaviors that someone has experienced within the last 30 days, 45 days, 3 months to 6 months to kind of quantify where it is that they fall from a medical perspective for billing purposes or for treatment planning purposes. And I'll go at more the treatment planning purposes because once you know the destination of where it is that they match the most, then you can put the interventions, then not to keep them stuck at diagnosis XXX. You now know, okay, this is what their behavior looks like. And so how can we be more preventative and what can we do to help them either correct the behavior, unlearn the trauma that they have been manifesting all this time that is now impacting other people around them. So it's like it's a journey. It helps us write the prescription, if you will, of the weekly, bi-weekly therapy or whatever intervention it is that they have chosen as the path. And sometimes people get those destinations and they define themselves as, oh, I'm bipolar, so you might as well just accept it. No, you're not bipolar. You're a person who lives with the diagnosis of bipolar. And let's talk about the interventions that can support eliminating that script for you.
Amen.
That's where people don't want to do the work. They be like, I like living in my bipolar life. I get perks.
No, but that's real though.
It's real.
I see it every day. Like not just with that, but just different diagnoses.
Right.
Like I have this, and I'm like, okay, how are you doing?
Right.
That's people introduce themselves as such
with the prescription of the XXX.
I have to say classification. I just say classification, but they introduce themselves as such. I'm like, okay.
And I teach a class on the psychology of I'm gonna come to that question in a second. I teach a class on psychology of disabilities, and I don't use the word disability. I call it unique ability because just because I live and enter into the life differently than you, it doesn't make me disabled. I'm differently abled, but I'm not disabled.
Thank you.
No problem. I knew you would like that since we were.
No, I do because that's how That's how I present myself in life. Yep.
And so the question is, so is stalking narcissistic behavior? Listen, listen.
It could be.
Narcissism lives strongly in a lot of different things, but is it narcissistic? Like, to answer your question directly, it's one of the qualifiers of what can take someone to that destination of behavior. We live narcissism every single day with the way people talk about racism, and then it plays out in our relationships every single day.
So narcissists, do they typically stalk people though? Or it depends on what spectrum, what end of the spectrum they're in their narcissism.
So I'm gonna explain, I'm gonna answer your question, but not to just limit it to narcissism.
Gotcha.
Everything, going back to the DSM, everything in the DSM impacts every single person differently. So even for those individuals who say, I'm bipolar, I'm borderline, I'm autistic, you got to give me these accommodations, everybody enters into these spaces differently. So is every person who's narcissistic the same? No, because some people could be indirect, they could be passive, they could be very direct and like abrasive, they could be, you know, just so confident that you're like, oh my God, they're like irritating, but I'm magnetized to them. And why am I attracted to this type of behavior? Until they be like, ABC, you good with A, B, and C, but when they get the letter D, you like, oh yeah, no, we're not cool no more. Like, okay, wait, I don't like that. But then sometimes you skip over it because ABC was so wonderful.
Oh, great.
It was like magical. It was that Disney effect. But then you're like, okay, so I'm gonna ignore it for now and then get to the rest of the alphabet. But then D comes back up like in another situation. And you like, I ignored it the first time. So as we were using the words earlier, when you ignored it, you gave space, you gave permission, you kind of allowed, I know we don't like these words, but you kind of said it's okay to do these behaviors. Right. So that person who thinks in an altered space, that's what I'll say, because however, whatever diagnosis in the word spectrum it is, in that altered space, I did it just on a grade A the first time, I could raise it to grade B this time. Oh, you accepted that grade B? Oh, that means I could do grade C. Like I could just each time, because you're like, okay, wait, this rubs me the wrong way, but I got flowers, I got $300 dinner.
Got a vacation?
I got a vacation. Like the trinkets, you get distracted by the other trinkets or other things around that D thing that you really don't like.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I think that's how, like the signs of how we get into violent type situations, like a stalking, like, I mean, I don't necessarily want to say assault, but like these uncomfortable conversations is because the pre-dating, pre-experience of how they look like didn't look like they do when they become a problem for us.
I agree with it.
I hope I answered your question, April.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all know this is my space. I'll be like,
no, you're fine.
So I don't know if you guys have anything else you wanted to say or ask or questions and thoughts. I wanted to make sure I did share, because this is a heavy topic, that if somebody is out there and they catch us now or they catch us on the replay and they need some help and they're a teenager or they know a teen, teenagers love to text. So a lot of the resources now are coming up with ways that people can text. So you could text the word love is to that short number on the end, the 22522, or you could dial in, but you could text and be anonymous and receive the support, that you could benefit from. One of the things
when they say teens, what are they saying? Are they up to a certain age? And for me, our 15s run to 21. So I don't know what are the ages for this.
I think it's really 12 to 19. Yeah. But okay. I don't think that they're going to turn a 21-year-old, like up to 21, away, because that 19 to 21 is in college, and it's a lot of violence and sexual assault and dating abuse that happens when people go away to college. So they would qualify, in that regard.
Okay.
And then I also wanted to give the number for, the Rape, Abuse, and Incest Network, the national hotlines. So the thing about this that I wanted to kind of share in this conversation too is sometimes, again, remember I said 6 to 12 is when stuff usually occurs, and then you're silenced for whatever reasons. Sometimes that stuff shows up when you're an emerging adult or when you're actually a full-blown adult and like working places and you get triggered. There's never, you may not even realize that you have experienced something so tremendous that has impacted you. So it's like these numbers are available for you to get the support that you need, that you don't have to keep in that silence for the remainder of your life. And trust me, when you begin to work through that process, you begin to have a better sense of yourself, as well as a better sense of life. The thing I want to go ahead, somebody was going to say something?
No, I said I agree. That's all.
If you're in danger though in the moment, and it's like immediate danger, when you call 911, the thing about calling 911 is that you have to share what the immediate emergency is right then. Because you have to think, if you live in a big city or even in a small city, like Camp said, that they don't even have a stoplight and the bank is a whole ATM. That was in the current events if you weren't here for that part. What was I going to say? You have to say certain words to share your imminent risk of life at that immediate moment. Because when you call 911, they begin to triage, and whereas you could have been the call that was 2 or 3 calls before, say, the gunshot, if they haven't gotten to you and a gunshot call comes, they're detouring and your life is going to, still be at imminent danger. So you have to be very, very specific and quick on how it is that you describe, like, what your 911 emergency is, and so that they can get all of the details possible. And then I think I just have one more to share, the domestic violence hotline for intimate partner abuse. That you always know that you can, 24 hours a day, there's always somebody on that hotline. It's a national hotline, and the national hotline, because I know we, have people outside of our immediate viewing area, this is a national hotline. They will point you to where your local hotline is. Unless you're trying to leave the local area, then they will help support you on that underground railroad to getting to where you need to get to. So just wanted to make sure I shared those resources, because this is like a, challenging conversation.
Yeah, I want to thank you for sharing. Definitely.
Yeah, no problem. And I wasn't even the one that even brought it up, but I had to represent.
Yeah. No, but that's definitely a point. A lot of that stuff hits close to home, especially with the teen dating.
Are you at the airport? Are you really at the airport?
No.
Oh. I was gonna say, how you keep them quiet all this time and then all of a sudden? So is it any, I guess, like thoughts or questions about these type of behaviors that create stalking? How to kind of recognize the signs? Is it mental health? Is it emotional? Is it certain diagnosis? Whatever. Any other way we can kind of help you out? I know it's a delay on the comments. So if anybody on the panel got something?
I think I would say, if you see something, say something. It's been big for me. I feel like this whole conversation really hits close to home, since I've lost students to teen dating, abuse, and violence. Just the whole 9, more than a couple of students in the last couple of years. It's just very and sometimes even if you see a teen, male or female, or whomever, And if they look down, if you see them seeking attention in any kind of way inappropriately, just even by saying hello, they can give them a little bit of confidence. It's just like the small things, saying hello, seeing a student smile or a teenager and giving them just a smile, like, or just saying hello. Those make a bigger difference, because I know with some of my students, when I started seeing them in the hallways outside of my class, like just at the school, and I was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing? I saw you eating lunch today," and it was just like, so the attention they were seeking from adults or from their own families or from the parents, and they had that support system, it lessened um, the inappropriate interactions or behaviors they would have gotten outside of that, which can lead to certain things like sexual abuse. So yeah.
And because people find security in adults that they find safe, or people that they find safe, and that sometimes can be that person that's at the school. But think about this whole however many months it's been where people haven't had that contact of those other adults. You know, things are still happening, like
right
in this world. Daryl?
No, I was
Ruth is saying she lost a friend in high school due to an abusive stalking boyfriend. I had a last year an international rescue that I supported that was very, very challenging. One, because it was international. Two, because it was international during COVID. And the borders, not necessarily being open, but at the time of the escape situation was kind of very great in timing, because it was like the borders opened only for a quick moment of time, and they were at that location that they were able to make whatever transition they needed to make. The unfortunate thing is that being an advocate, you end up getting stalked as well by being the advocate of people who are trying to, leave these type of situations. So I'm not saying that I regret anything, but you have to pay attention to your social media differently, because there are things that occur when you engage.
Yep. Yeah, I just think it's social media is important, because had a situation with an abuser from, let's say it's 20 years. They found me on social media, and it was just like I lost all contact, and the person was like, "Oh, no, long time no see," and friend me, look at my stuff. So I just started even more limiting my social media pages, and like just pulling back. I don't like, my stuff is entertainment anyway. Just pulling back on what I did share. So it was like that was important, because I'm like, how do you find me? But you can find anybody nowadays.
You can find anybody, even if they try to put their business name in the middle of their French alias name, they still can be found. I was like, dang, it's the French alias name. Y'all still found me? Jeez.
So that's important.
Right. Well, for that international situation, they would have found me because of my business name, but that's a whole nother shenanigan. Not shenanigan. I didn't say that. So Facebook user is saying that they lost their cousin to IPV. Her baby daddy is trying to use stalking as the reason he came to the house and shot her. Yeah. It's like, and the thing is that I love lawyers. I love psychologists too, but they, both professions manipulate words for their case to have the outcome that they want to have. And before we even get to those professionals, like, we talk about narcissistic type behaviors, people who are persuasive to make you believe what they need you to believe versus what the reality is, are dangerous in a stalking situation. Very, very dangerous in a stalking situation, because the gaslighting is real.
Yeah.
And she showed up at his job, and the girls, he allegedly, oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah, so We send some grace and love your way, and thank you for even sharing that, with us in this platform. But it's never an easy conversation, because sometimes even, we earlier we were talking about, is there blame one side or the other? Sometimes, as the friend who you thought you saw something or feel you could have did something differently, sometimes you really just don't know until the unfortunate happens. And then sometimes you do know.
So can we change the word from blame to accountability? Because we do have to still be accountable for what we allow.
And I mean, definitely change it to accountability. Like I said, I didn't know what word to use. As I said that earlier, like I didn't know what word to use. Right. Go ahead, April. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say that because the longer you give permission, accept, however you want to phrase it, we have to be accountable for that gateway.
Mm-hmm.
Not stating, that blaming that the consequences, whether it's, abuse or something worse, you brought it on. But at some point we have to establish those boundaries.
I mean, well, I think, but the fear and things of that nature sometimes don't allow you to be really accountable, or don't allow you to allow things, right? Because if someone's doing things and you don't feel there's any way out, you're kind of now stuck in that situation. You may feel stuck for whatever reason, and you may not like the situation or want to be in the situation, but you're you're still there. You can't get out of it. You don't feel you can get out of it, right? So I don't know if accountability will be a word I would use either. It's tough. It's just I feel so hopeless even in talking about it, because sometimes you're just stuck in this situation and you may not want to be in it, but there may not be a foreseeable way out at the time.
So I think I would want to reframe being stuck. Yes, it's challenging to kind of see your way out of it, but if you are in any way able to, I guess, love yourself, which you do, and be able to plan or have the idea of yourself being separated from this individual and that life is going to be okay, even in the thought or knowing that financially you don't have a job or you don't have enough money saved, you may have children. I mean, I'm thinking of one person I supported. They had 7 children and thought that they could never leave the individual, and that was actually one of the leverage points that they said, well, you got 7 children, nobody ever is going to want you, you can only be with me. Mm-hmm. And that person left Philadelphia and went all the way to California through the 800 number. So it's like you have to begin to figure out what your exit plan is. And your exit plan is not set the plan is July 2nd. It's going to happen July 31st. It takes time. You got to build your strategy and not let the person know who you're with that way is what you're planning, because then you might not be able to execute that plan safely because now they know. But that heightens the level of stalking type behaviors as well, because then now, whereas they used to get home at 5:36, they may come home at 2:30 because they suspect that something else is happening with you. Okay. and they're losing control. And if they're losing control, that becomes a issue. But the thing is that for the individual who is trying to separate from the stalking behaviors and the stalking relationship, you really got to be very clear on your strategy and just know that if you don't know personally how you're going to be able to survive housing, financially, food, whatever, no matter if you got yourself only or children, that is possible. like there's resources out there like available for you. You just have to do the part to get yourself, free from the unsafe situation. And there's teams out there to help you do that. Even while you're in it, like there's teams that help you navigate what that strategy looks like. I know it's like a dark conversation. We not laughing. We not popping.
One of them real.
I think it's a fragile conversation because you don't want to say, like, we're fumbling over our words because we don't want to blame the victim, when certainly we're not trying to blame the victim, but and we have to be careful, be mindful of everything else in that picture. But I don't know. It is a sensitive.
It is.
Very.
And you have to be careful what kind of advice that you give.
So true.
It's a scary situation. I would never want to be in that situation, and it has a lot of unknowns.
A lot.
You don't know when is the right time. You have to pay attention to the signs, but what are the signs? Again, depending on who you're in a relationship with, it can be masked by the flowers and the gifts, and again, I would not want to be there.
It just hits very close to home because even the most, I would say, perfect relationships you think are perfect, and you may have grown up with both. For example, male or female or whatever, you may have grown up with both of them. Their whole families, they would never do something like this. They're at church every Sunday. Our families vacation together, and she's smiling all the time. And sometimes those be the unfortunate situations where you go to their house every day, and like sometimes you just didn't pick up on certain things, and then you wake up and you get a call and she's been killed. Like, so I feel like it just comes, you just never know. I just think it hits very close to home.
Yeah, as you said that, it made me think about one time I was a speaker at this event, and a couple people came up to me like afterwards, like asking, questions that was deep questions towards like, how do I deal with this stalking situation? What's my escape plan or whatever? And the pastor's daughter came up to me, and she knew that it was unsafe to talk to me because that's how she started the conversation. But she was being sexually assaulted within the church building, and her parents knew it. And as she began to describe like all of the different ways in which it was just unsafe for her to be in that building, they began to, like where we were, they began to kind of close in because they had heard what I was saying and could only imagine what she was saying to me. And they kept 302 in her, which for anybody who doesn't know that's like involuntarily hospitalizing her because she had the problem, as opposed to her being violated and needing additional like safety support from them. So yeah, that was tricky because not tricky. It was like very uncomfortable because I'm like, okay, am I even safe leaving this building with the fact that they know approach me and they don't know what it is that I said to her that is arming her to have the toolkit to do something different. And it was like, okay, I know I'm around a certain way. I was going to say the neighborhood. I know I'm around a certain way, but I'm from a different way. So like, okay, you can come with it if you like.
Right.
You can come with it if you like. But I remember having to get rid of that energy, like, just trying to, because it was really, I felt unsafe.
And I think about
family. Hey, Del Rico.
Hi. Just thinking about that, like with families and certain family members in church, like different groups protecting the the person that's doing the assaulting. That's like,
yeah, and it was a relative.
right?
Like,
Like when they show up to the mom's house or the dad's house and like, girl, we here waiting for you. Better stop acting like that. Like, whoa,
right.
Right.
Things okay.
It's almost like she was currency to the family, like just sexual currency. And I was like, okay, this is not like, I need to be calling the people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But she's already been in, like, they've already gaslighted the people coming to the house and putting it on her mental health and saying that she was making it all up. So it, and that's actually an element of stalking, because if your family is not believing it or, have other value systems that say what it is, then it's like, okay, where are you safe at? You're not safe in that house.
Nowhere.
Yes, I don't know. So, you got any further thoughts or questions? I mean, because I could probably go on for days, but I don't need to. I don't want to on a Friday night with just some Riesling. But definitely, if there's anybody who, catches this conversation live or on the replay that has questions around, is their situation this or that, and they need support around, the stalking behavior or exit planning or anything like that, feel free to reach out to myself or Doc, because this was Doc's conversation. Like, she brought this to the table. I probably would not have brought this to the conversation because it's more like work. And when we come to sip and chat, I'll be trying to sip and chat, have real dialogue, but not deep dialogue like this. But it's necessary.
Yeah, it felt like a session.
I try not to. I just try to record those and put it in the group. So any closing thoughts, questions, or inquiries? Do I need to put the information back up in case people didn't catch it the first time?
I would say so, yeah.
Absolutely.
I think that's important.
Yeah. So if you're a teenager, and I know teens love the text versus talking, they don't want nobody to hear their voice or they need to be private, feel free to know that is an option. Just text the word love is to 22522. Or if you find a space that you can actually talk, and feel free to dial that first number as well. If you have experienced any sexual assault, abuse, rape, or incest, these are the numbers that you will reach out. And all of these numbers are available 24/7. So if you wake up at 2 a.m. And you feel like, okay, this is the safest time that you could talk to somebody, like is someone available on these hotlines like all the time. Now we in the COVID life, they still on the hotline. Like they done worked it out that they can still, provide resources. So somebody is suggesting the Netflix series of You on Netflix.
I saw that.
You never saw that, Mary?
I'm not really a TV person, so no, I didn't.
Gotcha.
It's like somebody has to tell me to watch something, and then I'll watch it, because otherwise.
You was kind of dope, and I think season 3 is coming out. I think early, maybe in September, the 3rd.
That was pretty good.
Did you see that, Daryl?
No, I didn't.
Wait, let me put this last phone number up, and then we're gonna go to how it is that Daryl stalks his daughter at school. And
right.
Is that okay for a parent to stalk their daughter?
Absolutely.
That's a part 2.
That's always okay for a parent. You should stalk your children. They should know They should know that you're always around at all times.
See, so that means you telling her that her partner, when she's allowed to have one, I gotta say allowed with you, because you said that's not
35.
supposed to happen for 40. Yeah, 35.
We agreed on it. We agreed to 35. So what we should be, the word should be showing support support.
Is that the reframe word?
He said
showing support for.
That's how that looks.
Yes,
That's
showing support.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's not stalking, it's
It's
showing support.
showing support.
But the rules was, Daryl, this was the rule.
Damn them rules.
No parents allowed.
Damn them rules.
Even if you have a tracker on your kids, it's still stalking. Even if you're like,
GPS hack on their phone, location hack.
Listen, it's called being responsible parenting or protection. Thank you, Facebook user. Protection.
I mean,
right. I think
it is what it is.
I didn't hear what you say. What you say, Cam?
So see, the Facebook user probably wasn't here a couple of weeks ago when it was described that you had this big old truck in the corner, hiding behind a tree, that you had to go around the block a couple times, like a stalker type behavior.
And he was advised from
see, here you go again. That's an expert. That's called supporting your child. She's doing something. I want to come show support. Let her know. Hey, go, baby. Go, baby.
I wish we had that video to show.
He was entitled.
He was better. Listen, you got to make sure they know that they're important. She knows that I would take the day off to come see her perform this event at school, even though the school rules were wrong to say that we shouldn't come. I mean, I agree. I had to look. The school was wrong that way. That was wrong.
The school was not wrong that way. They was teaching like independence. It was you trust the school in any other situation.
I do not trust school. Sorry, I do not. For the record, I do not trust the school. That's why I pop up on a regular basis.
With the big black truck hiding behind a tree.
Looking like a true stalker.
Like a true stalker. That's stalker behavior.
This is where that line where this is just showing support.
So this is that manipulation of words that I'm talking about.
This is where we're looking at. This is where we're looking at things in a perverted light. This was great support. She was supported. Her father came to check her out and be there. And this run she did. This is my daughter. No, she's supported. All you need someone to support you like I support my daughter.
She was running pretty quickly.
She was, and he slowed her down.
Yes, yeah. She probably lost the race.
Yes, because of saying hi, Dad.
Well, so what do you think was the race important? Was she excited to see her dad there come pop up and show her? And she still was excited to see me there. She was so excited to see me show up. Other kids were like, "Oh, my parents don't love me because they didn't come see me." They don't.
Exactly.
They don't. The other parents don't love you. That's right.
Wow.
They don't. I love her. I'm going to be
Classic
there. And anything she does, showing up.
Behavior. I'm not diagnosing you in that classification. I'm just pointing it out in the conversation that we've had before, that these are the persuasive statements that individuals make that make you believe that you thought something was wrong or different. You have alternative facts. But the reality is, if you feel jaded in some particular way, if it look like a duck, quack like a duck.
It sounds like a duck.
You know what? It's very interesting. Our children need to know their parents are supporting them. We need to support them. We need to just let them know that we will be there. So this is outside of this. This is just being a great parent. This is what it is.
I mean,
memory.
So Facebook users say that more dads care that much. So do you think that you should facilitate a care extra much group for dads?
Well, I think there. You know what? I think there should be. I think that.
Or how dads can show up in your children's life group, something like that.
Well, I think we should show. I think sometimes we, through society and norms, that may not show up in certain ways because they don't feel comfortable. And I mean, I had to get used to this space because going to daycare and things of that nature, they're looking at you funny, like, why are you here? You're a man. Why are you here? So it's weird. And I'm going to be here. Hello. Hey, why are you here? So but it was a space I had to get used to being. You know, sometimes being the only man. I would love to have another man there, like, yo, bro, like, yo, because it's weird. You're almost ostracized because the women kind of stay together. They don't approach me as much, right? They're doing their own thing, and I get it, right? They're women. They don't know. I understand. I'm not saying if there was other men there, it might be a little. Even doing like when they have things at school, I volunteer for everything, and it's like, okay, he's coming. You know, we're going to, you know.
Is that what they say? They be like, oh,
yeah, and then you know, and then their bias come out. Are you sure you can watch the kids? No, I can't. I'm a legal man. I mean, so I'm asking dumb questions. So it is a space you have to kind of get used to being in and getting used to the looks and you know, it is weird, but I do it. I'm going to continue to do it.
Do you?
Gonna continue?
Continue, absolutely.
Until she's 30?
35. Then
35, right.
Thank
35.
you. Thank you, Cam. Then I can back off a little bit.
You don't see that as stalking?
That's called parenting. We have to rear the children up the way, you know, to show them things. And I gotta show that I'm present. I'm very present. But it's funny now from the conversation, it's definitely like, wait a minute, am I introduced to stalking life? Is this? I might have to rethink some things. I gotta let her know this is not only dad.
Somebody loves her, and you letting her know how somebody shows that they love her, and your behaviors are mapping that expectation. So
no, it could be so not to frame it for her, because I do think being present for children is very important, right? And even with my sisters, everything they did, I was there. What it was, how big it was, how small it was, I would be there to show support. And I think, you know, even as me, like I remember people would come out to see things I did sometimes. So I knew how not to have anybody there. So I want them to feel like, hey, look, I'm here all the time. But I'm gonna have to frame it to make her so she doesn't think as she gets older, like somebody popping up, looking at the window is okay.
Right.
So you learn things from this show. I didn't learn today, okay?
Yeah, so Facebook users is doing the opposite.
Funny,
I guess the benefit.
This is funny. Define line is, and that's why we have to define things and we have to frame things. Go on back to the beginning of the show where we talked about the kiss. We have to frame things, and so that, like I said, I never thought about what me showing up would be, because I'm the first man she really want to model after when she looks for a relationship, and someone is popping up into that nature. She may feel that's okay. You guys just saved my babe from being stalked. Look at you guys.
Woo, I can't wait to see the princess next week. To be like, princess, we done saved your life a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you know what? It's crazy. You don't think about it, and I definitely never looked at it any other way. And I'm like, the great thing being there, popping up, you know. But I'm like, wow, I'm really I could be letting her think that this is okay. This is an acceptable way for someone to show love, and that means love. He's doing what my dad did. Wow. Look at that. Breakthrough.
And then he cut her throat afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I definitely
like, well, dad never did that, but then we do adult stuff that, you know, I can't do with dad. So this is supposed to be. This is the other part.
The other way around.
That's very interesting, because, you know, you never looked at it that way. But it could be, I can see how that could lead to some issues in dating, or what he expects from someone, how a man treats her. Okay, look at that.
I'm so glad that we can pass the offering prayer. Yes, so thank you, Ruth, for throwing him under the bus so that he can help.
Absolutely. Because it's a very
of his ways.
Yeah, like I said, look at that, right under the bus. Gosh darn it. But it's great because, like I said, I can see it in a different light, and I can frame it in a way that it's not it won't be maybe so potentially threatening in the future.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So, any closing
Thank you.
thoughts, or are we good? You're welcome, Daryl.
We
Thank
are good.
you.
I don't have any closing thoughts.
Miss Payne, what you got?
No, I thought you closed the thoughts.
Oh, you right.
Miss Payne, what's going on? You want to talk? You want to talk about Miss Payne? What's going on over there?
I'm good.
She's not
You
good.
listen-
But she's
you
not gonna
listening
tell
to-
us on live.
Yeah, you listening to Drake? Are you listening to Drake over there? You and your feelings?
Who? No, I don't listen to Drake.
You funny.
So I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh shoot! Ask G what we talking about and your feelings. Thank you, Facebook user, for connecting with us and participating in this conversation. Glad you enjoyed us. We are here each and every Friday, unless we post to say something different. And we start at 8 o'clock with checking in with our sips in our chat, and current events, and then we dive into whatever the conversation is, unless we get sidebarred with a potluck edition. But we're gonna have to plan some potluck editions, even though Camp almost bamboozled us with what she listed out. She listed out 5 things.
100 things.
100 things. I was like,
There's a lot going on this week.
It is a lot going on this week. It is. Thank you, Ruth, for always being our dedicated listener. And we hope, I guess next week we might have a invitation of sorts for those who have followed us since the start of doing Sip and Chat on Fridays at 8 with Relationship Flow, Doc and I. So hope we might have stay tuned, stay close for a special invitation as possible. Of course, it's a limited invitation, but it's an invitation nonetheless. And until then, Ruth, we did not forget your topics. I want to say that live instead of coming to you direct. We didn't forget your conversation. We're just trying to stage it the correct way on education and like the differences with parents and stuff like that in the educational system. Plus, we gotta make sure Camp is here. She be in and out, dipping and diving. Next week is her birthday week, so I'm not sure what that looked like. Okay. But so I just wanted to give you that shout out, Ruth, too, that we got you coming. It's just being strategically planned. All right. So in the meanwhile, we'll see you next week. Take care. Deuce.